All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the Chi League Invitational European region. We are at the Grand Finals, a best-of-5 Grand Finals this year, that $10,000 prize pool, ultimately what these teams are playing for, of a 70-30 split. We have Vega Squadron taking on Team Singularity in this best-of-5, so a minimum of 3 games. Something tells me, though, at least 4, if not all 5 games, very likely on the docket today. And that's just good things knowing for us, because that means some great Dota ahead on what is a beautiful Monday, hopefully for you as well, tuning in as I'm Breaking CPK, joined by Hasbaz once again as my co-caster. This is it, man. Casting these last couple of days, and here are the 2 teams that remain in the end.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure to, get to follow these teams to the grand combination. Obviously, both these teams actually from Group B, so we didn't follow their entire journey, but we got to witness some great, a full best of 3 from the side of Singularity against Windstrike, where they looked very strong. Perhaps they should have won all 3 games if they hadn't made a few mistakes in the first one. And Vega Squadron just winning both their games in absolutely dominating fashion. So I'm interested to see if Singularity are able to flip the script on its head and at least take 1 or 2 games of Vega Squadron here.
Vega Squadron has yet to lose a game because, yeah, they went 2-0 over Priest, including going 3-0 in the group stages. So Singularity, they've had to battle out much more, including against Vega Squadron in the group stages, which they lost 2-0, as you're pointing out. So they're looking for that revenge, as well as this new best of 5. This is just a matchup where, as I was even mentioning to you, Hal, if I happen to be tuning into a daily Dota 2 match and being like, okay, these are the 2 teams, yeah, Singularity is going to win this, because you look at the rosters, obviously known players, especially on their side, including a former TI winner in Jerry. So Vega Squadron, really, for me at least, J4 we recognize, but the others not too familiar with. But from what we saw from them yesterday, my mind is now changed, and again, expecting a great series here between these teams. But Grimstroke is the first pick. Sand King Leshrac going to be the response. Interesting opening from Vega with that Leshrac early on in the draft.
Yeah, the Sand King Leshrac, they're just a classic duo now, it seems. The Sand King's so powerful. You have the Burrow Strike to set up for the Leshrac Split Earth. That always makes the Leshrac much more powerful in lane when he has a setup for that stun. And that's just so much magic damage and harass coming out from these 2 heroes. That's going to be very tough for any safe lane of Singularity to be able to put up with it. But I'd like to just talk about the bans here. An early PL ban. I don't know if Vega played it in the last 2 days, but we certainly didn't see it in the matches of theirs that we saw on stream. But what we did see is this early Templar Assassin pick for Pinrin Check. Like, they picked it in the first phase for, I think, was it 2 games in a row before it was banned? And there was just no answer to it at all.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, she's been in general a very popular hero. I know we were having that discussion yesterday. A very popular hero for several teams, whatever the reason is, this last week especially. And again, in the patch, she did now get the Aghanims effect, so kind of interesting to note. I am seeing the Batrider banned by Vega Squadron. Part of me almost wonders, but no, that wouldn't make sense, because then they first picked Sand King and the Leshrac. I was going to say, were they maybe planning on taking the TA with that ban right there? But very likely they were knowing that TA was a possibility. And I go back to the Leshrac in terms of potentially a decent matchup against TA with that Edict as far as dealing with a refraction. It's not up there on the tier list as far as like a Batrider or Jakiro, but it certainly can match up mid against TA, I would figure.
Yeah, it certainly can match up mid against the TA, but it is a pretty hard lane because you are an intelligence hero. You don't have that crazy longer range, so you will be eating some of the side blades. But obviously, because you do have spells to CS, TA shouldn't be able to massively deny you like she is against other people, thanks to her refraction-based damage. Just allowing her to get all those denied. Something I'm very curious we haven't seen banned yet for the side of Vega Squadron is they haven't got rid of the Doom. We've seen this Grimstroke either first ban or first pick. It seems that all teams are loving the Grimstroke, even though all he got touched was the Aghanims. He just seems very strong in the games. But they have got rid of the Beastmaster, so there's going to be no double raw. But I wouldn't be surprised if Singularity just go right back for that Doom.
100% Doom's coming out here. Holy crap. I mean, yeah, the synergy of the Grimstroke, he's great against a hero like Leshrac especially. I am shocked that Vega Squadron did not ban Doom, especially in the second tier bans. Beastmaster, sure, is fine. It makes sense. It's double prime Aurora is also pretty strong.
10 seconds
Anti-Mage,
remaining.
I mean, I guess also could have been a strong hero again
5
against a
seconds
Leshrac, but
remaining. Dire
man,
team
that
pick.
Doom is certainly going to have high value here this game for Singularity. So I would find it shocking if they do not pick up Doom with this third spot. Bane is going to be the third pick for Vega Squadron. I haven't seen a lot of him this event, but is a good hero potentially against a hero like somebody like Templar Assassin as far as lockdown goes, taking them out of fights as best he can. Bane is one of the top heroes at trying to
10
keep a
seconds
hero from being
remaining.
effective on the other side.
Yeah, if the positioning is good
5
on a Bane,
seconds
then
remaining.
you can just eliminate a hero, hold him down while the rest of the team deals all your damage, obviously. As well as the fact that Fiend Script will eat through those refraction charges and just help that tiny bit, and a very strong lane support. So I think we're seeing, the off lane and the two supports here from the side of Vega Squadron. I think they probably want to give the farm to the Lesh over the Sand King, but that might just be my own preference. And lots of teams do change it up depending what they're feeling. But Singularity, there's so many good combos to the Scrimstroke. You can get the Necrophos, you could get the Doom, and I really think it's whatever their preference is that they can go for here. But they also know Vega's not looking for another offlaner, so they might just take their 4-position support here, and
Radiant
really great ones
team
with the Grimstroke, like the Shadow Shaman or something.
Oh, there you go, and a Batten, so more of a position for Grimstroke instead with the 5 by Batten, and Razor then immediately comes out from Vega Squadron. So Vega clearly has an idea. I mean, it's almost like they probably knew the Templar Assassin was potentially coming, but that they've been picking pretty quickly, as they now have a 4th pick Razor as their core.
So the Razor versus the TA matchup, it's not dominating
10 seconds
at all, but you don't really lose it because you drain enough damage
5
so that once TA is
seconds
using those side blades, it's like she hits like a regular hero. So I do think it is slightly Razor favored, but it's like we say every time for the
Radiant
TA.
team
Even if she doesn't do great in the lane,
Razor.
she's more than happy to go to the jungle. And here is a hero I did not think we would be seeing for a long period of time.
I can't say I feel the same as far as this sentiment goes. I mean, I still expect her to be picked up. I think she's reverting back a little bit more to that. I don't want to say cheese, but just again, a later pick is like, okay,
10
we have
seconds
a
remaining.
ranged core, in this case Templar Assassin, that could certainly benefit from her
5
aura.
seconds remaining.
We want to be pushing objectives earlier on. Let's pick up a Drow Ranger. I think it's more that idea again, rather than Drow can solo carry a game all of a sudden and be very strong. She farms fast. Let's just pick up Drow first pick. So I don't think she's that level anymore, but she's certainly still a pick. That could happen later on, in my opinion. As you're getting to though, she can no longer flash farm Ancients with her marksmanship is the biggest change, I feel. And then the armor from the marksmanship as far as being affected by now just base armor rather than total armor. Somewhat of a big deal too. But still a good pick. Good synergy with Templar Assassin, and Singularity decides to throw it in here as their 4th.
10 seconds
Yeah,
remaining.
that change means she's still very good against agility carries, like the
5
Terrorblade, like the
seconds
Juggernaut,
remaining.
that aren't going to pick up things like an AC. But Razors are going to build a Shiva's Guard at some point, or maybe an AC on the Razor, Shiva's Guard on the Leshrac. So there will be, like armor floating about for the side of Vega Squadron. And, there's also the possibility on a Guardian Crease and that kind of thing. So she's it's exactly as you say, she's no longer the solo hard carry. I can carry the game by myself, but you're totally right in the fact she can buff up the TA. And Vega, they do get rid of the Necrophos because there isn't really that much synergy for the Soulbind just yet for the Grimstroke. So they were thinking about a ranged carry with a single ranged offlaner with a single target spell, and the Necro just fits the total build there. So I like the Vega Squadron ban very much.
I do, but I mean, Doom's still open. I go back to that. I mean, Singularity, it seems almost very obvious to me
Dire team
that Doom is a final pick hero here as your
Radiant
offlaner.
team pick.
It still brings us synergy and everything, but no, they're going to pass it up. They go a Puck instead for perhaps a bit more AoE control is a big part of that. That's the biggest thing I can think of right off the bat. Also a hero that certainly benefits from the Drow aura, so they probably wanted a little more value there, I suppose. But I'm looking at this Singularity team now and seeing, okay, they don't really
10
have a
seconds remaining.
frontliner. A Batten can do that, but this is a 5 support Batten. He's not going to have a lot of farm. That borrow time's going to proc quickly, and he's going to die shortly after if he's, up there being a meaty target. So I am concerned for the lineup for that, but this is your kind of Drow strat. Let's go all in on the Drow, and let's win early.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a very all-in strategy here for the side of Singularity, because previously when we saw them pick this TA, they were running more of a 4 protect 1, where the TA would buy space for the hard carry. You know, for example, like the anti-mage that they've been able to get rid of here. But Puck, you know, he did receive some buffs to his base stats. Will hit very hard, might even build into a Dagon to work with the Grimstroke. And this is a 4-position Grimstroke, so he'll lane with the Puck, and you get that synergy between the Ink Swell and the Orb. So, you know, the Puck can just appear on someone and hopefully get that stun. So I'm very curious to see how these lanes work out. But if Singularity don't do well coming out of these lanes, I think they're going to have a really hard time, especially because I expect Vega to pick a fairly hard scaling core here.
Yeah. Well, they got plenty more time even still. 30 seconds remaining for this final pick from Vega Squadron. So who would make sense to go with the Razor? A hero that can certainly get on the back lines. One to think about. Man, something like a Lifestealer doesn't feel too bad here. Not like great in Templar Assassin, but overall could be okay with the Rage buff in general. I'm trying to think like Ursa. No, you don't want to deal with Puck and Drow. Who are they going with?
The classic Drow counter in the Spectre, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep, that actually makes a lot of sense. With the Spectre, there's not a lot of reason why Spectre doesn't feel too good here. They don't have the greatest... I mean, Templar Assassin with the Sideblaze and Puck, sure, with the Illusory Orb can clear, but... Yeah, I like the Spectre pick.
Yeah, it's, the thing about the Spectre is he just has such a tough time in lanes. We've seen time and time again where Spectres have real trouble coming online, and Zanny might suffer from that. Obviously, Bane, a very good 5-position support, might be able to enable the Spectre, but I think Jerry's Grimstroke and Shasho, they really might be able to apply lots of pressure to the Spectre in the fact that Zanny won't come online till the 30-minute mark, and by that point, Singularity, their aim will have been to really shut down the map. So I think a lot is in the hands of So Bad as well as Lost Hero, you know, keeping this Drow down, as well as hoping GPK has a decent mid lane.
Yeah. Well, we know what Singularity's game plan is, especially from them. It's just, again, win the lanes and win from there. It's snowball effect with the Drow Ranger strat. Templar Assassin, certainly a hero that can benefit from the early snowball as well. So Singularity, I would say if I had to put a time limit, you know, 20 to 25 minute range seems like a good place to be when they're going to possibly even be trying to push tier 3 towers and finish the game. If it goes past 30 minutes and they still don't even have a tier 3 dead, let alone a Rax, then Vega Squadron perhaps will be in a spot to recover and have that Spectre farm to a point where he will be then unstoppable. But that's just theory crafting. Who knows what's truly going to happen in this game. It is so bad on the Leshrac. Okay, so yeah, it will be a position 4 Leshrac and a position 3 Sand King to clarify all of that. So, I mean, I go back to the Leshrac. It is a good pairing, you're right, with the Sand King. So I guess maybe that's just why they wanted it. There are others like Alina, for example, that come to mind. But you know, a hero that is also okay with the Sand King that we haven't seen it forever is that Murata. We haven't seen that arrow coming out and following up with a Star Storm, the invis for the whole team. I feel like she's still a decent hero, but teams just aren't picking her up right now.
I feel Morana's a very situational hero, and she really requires a lot of farm, I feel. So you want to be playing her in a core position. If she's in the 4 position, she just feels very underwhelming as a hero, in my opinion. And also the Burrow Strike stun, it's just not long enough to set up that arrow, I don't think. You know, you do mention that Morana, and they do have J4 who has the Nightmare, and that certainly is long enough to set up for a good arrow. But I think one thing to point out is that the side of Singularity, they have this Templar Assassin, and that is going to enable them to go into the Roche pit fairly early. So, you know, Roche is so important for the side of Singularity this game. With the first Aegis, they're going to look to probably mow down most of the tier 2s, and it's exactly as you say, around that 25-minute mark. Hopefully be getting the second Aegis and looking towards those tier 3s.
Or maybe even the third Roshan and getting that Ags effect. Hey, you know, we're 2 for 2 on the third Roshans, by the way. I just realized that when it comes to spawning the Ags, because we've had 3 Roshans only a couple times, and sure enough, they both happen to be the Ags effect. So no refresher shard. I wonder if they've coded it to a point of like, oh, let's just make the third Roshan give a little more axe because it's a new item. Anyways, Shoshlo, he's going to jump in, go for the bounty rune. He picks it up. He's in trouble, though. I don't know about this. Yeah, he was, that was so ambitious because he obviously got a illusory orb level 1 and went in for the bounty rune to use it on top of the 2 heroes of Bane and Spectre. So he dies to get the bounty rune. You give up first blood to a Spectre. It feels pretty good for Spectre.
Yep, most certainly that's not what you want to be doing on this offlane Puck Grimstroke. That, you know, their objective is to pressure this Spectre, not feed her kills. And but now, you know, there might be a bit less aggression, and we'll see what they really are able to do once the standing phase settles down.
Top lane, Drow. Look at Leshrac and Satan. They don't even care about the creep wave, it felt like. They're just going to run at Drow Ranger. And Excalibur having to back all the way to the tower and get some support from Abaddon before he's going to recover and be fine. But clearly the game plan for this top lane is abuse the Drow as much as you can. Take advantage of her early levels and let her know that she's not going to have some free CS when it comes to the laning phase, of course. So good start there for Vega Squadron, and pressure being applied. Look at the mid lane matchup, though, too. And right now it's a 6-5 Razor versus a 2-1 Templar Assassin. So I know it's very early on, but Razor certainly having the benefit early.
Yeah, it's just the power of this level 1 static link, and Primogex actually doesn't have enough points in the refraction to really make up for the damage he's losing.
But using refraction there, just runs away. There's the regen. Has a salve now. So as the levels start adding up, though, you'd expect that he's going to be a little more fine. Yeah,
because, you know, that he'll eventually get boots as well, so he'll start losing a tiny bit less damage. GBK actually investing pretty heavily in the static link. Sometimes you don't see against ranged heroes people take that many, but this TA, you know, doesn't have a mobility like a Quat Blink or a Moran Elite. Those are 2 of the heroes we see very often match up against a Razor. So, you know, you are going to be able to get off these decent static links.
Oh, I'm looking at the CS chart right now. As usual at the beginning of the game, it's Bane bottom lane, goes down. They play aggressive into Bane between Grimstroke and Puck, and that's where Spectre is not really that useful. All they can do is dagger and kind of just attack them the best he can, but not much he's going to be able to do to stop them. So yeah, this is actually a lane that both the off lanes from either team are the aggressors in their lane for sure. I was just about to mention, though, CS-wise right now, it is looking pretty for Vega Squadron. All 3 cores are winning their lanes at this moment.
Yeah, you're so right about that, and that is really good for Vega. Usually expect Spectre, you know, he's the one you expect to get pressured, but with the help of that first blood, he already has his soul ring. And this means he's going to have just that tiny bit of regen, and he's most certainly going to have the mana to sustain this dagger span in the lane. That will help him get CS as well as maybe even pressure one of these heroes, the Puck of Grimstroke, out of lane. So that first blood, we're really seeing it pay off here with the very early soul ring here on Sunny, and it should just help him secure this lane even further.
Yeah, when Spectre started becoming more popular again a couple months ago, I want to say, we were seeing the Soul Ring coming out. It threw me off initially. Like, what the hell, Soul Ring on a Spectre? That's kind of weird, but the spamming of that dagger truly is powerful. As So Bad, by the way, is probably dead. Yep, he goes down at the top lane. So good killing a Leshrac right there. Too much pressure being applied from him. But yeah, being able to spam that special dagger over and over for both last hitting and harassment, it definitely feels good for him.
Yeah, it's great in the laning phase, and it's even better once you're in the jungle. Yeah, in the later levels as the laning phase breaks down, because you're going to have level 4 Spectral Dagger. You know, it does a 240 AoE damage. You know, it does allow you to help plow through those creep camps. So, because Spectre usually has so much trouble farming before she either gets to her Radiance, and if she goes for a Manta Cell type build, she's going to have trouble farming, but obviously going for a fighting type build, which... depending how it goes, you know, Zanny starting off very well in the lane, so obviously might double down and just go for the Radiance. But if things do get a bit harder for the side of Vega, if they do start to get pressured, we might expect him to go for that more harder fighting build.
Yeah. J4, he's fine. Again, Bane can certainly sustain in the lane. He has level 2 Brain Sap now. Throws that out, but as we saw earlier too, he needs to be a little careful, because between Puck and Grimstroke, they can certainly do some nice burst damage, especially if they catch him with an Inkswell, and there is synergy there with the Puck, of course. So, he is going to play aggressive, though, in the face of Shoshlo, despite that. Zani does have the soul ring used if need be, as 5-minute battery runes are coming up. And Zani's going to head over to the left to pick up his first. He wants to get the other one, but that's not going to happen. He'll get his, Puck will get theirs. And at the top lane, there is a battle for the rune, of course, too, and a Batten goes down. It looks like Stan King actually picked it up even. So it's going to be a 3-for-1 to favor Vega on top of a hero kill.
Yeah, he realized he couldn't get his own bounty rune, so he was walking down to get the Radiant side one, but they just had the catch him, and Excalibur is suffering really, really badly in this top lane. I didn't realize his CS was that bad, but now I'm looking at it. 15 compared to the 28 of the Sand King. This has been an absolute domination lane from the side of Vega. And, you know, even though they were able to get one kill on the Leshrac, I don't think it matters when you're that far behind in CS.
Well, the reason they were able to get the kill is because he's literally 1v2ing them. He's just running at them, and they're having to spread out and run away into the jungle. And that's the biggest reason why Drell's farm, it feels like it's so low. Because they say, yeah, you got to kill Leshrac, that's good, but you just see how aggressive Sobad to play. He's got boots. He's just running at Abaddon right here, taking away the chance for him to stack the camp. I suppose he was trying to do right there, which honestly, I'm not sure about that because you have a Sand King Leshrac on the other side, and they can certainly take that camp out quickly if you are to stack it. So I don't even know if that made the most sense from Mapochka, but it gets blocked anyways. But you see, just Excalibur has to keep his distance. So Singularity, they need to address this. I mean, TA has recovered in the mid lane as expected, but she is doing fine now. Maybe look to send the Grimstoke to the top lane, though, for a gank, or even Puck at level 6, I suppose. Although that's still a little bit away. But they're going to have to open up some space for Drow somehow.
Yeah, I mean, she's... The good thing about having the Abaddon in the lane, no matter how... They're so low on levels, actually, looking at both of them, is I was going to say he does offer the sustain for Excalibur because, you know, against these two, I think if it was any other support, this Drow Ranger would have been killed. And it looks like I have just jinxed her.
She did. They're diving. Yep. And Bane comes in. Mapochka going to do what he can. He has a misquote at the last second. Keeps her alive and allows her to... Nope, never mind. Well, yeah, they get the turn kill. What do I say? I thought Drow tied her. They're off the left track going down. So the heal is enough, and Excalibur now turning onto the Sand King as well. Last hero dies. And a 2-for-0 turn to favor Singularity. So Bane could only go so deep right there at the tower. And Jerry, great TP timing, ends up being able to turn that fight. But the miscoil just barely saving Excalibur and allowing for that turn in the long run.
Yeah, the strength of the Abaddon there, the Aphotic Shield holding down Excalibur, so the chain stun didn't last as long as you would think. The heals coming out from this miscoil, and they're able to turn it around. Just Vega just thinking they're slightly stronger than they are. Mapochka, the Aphotic Shield, and again, that's going to save Excalibur here.
Jeez. Pops the Iron Branch reach in with the Tango, so popping that up quite a bit. Shoshlo bottom lane, though. He already used his phase shift, no Illusory Orb, and that's why Sobad's able to run at him with that level 2 Diabolic Edict now. Can support Leshrac, so he's not touching Lightning Storm yet. 2-2 build early on. Top lane, Epicenter Chen. No, the silence at the last second. Jerry's on point with the Phantom's Embrace, and now last hero trying to survive himself. Once again, Abaddon TP's in, puts down the sentry. They can see exactly where he's at if they can get to the trees. That's the one thing. Last hero kiting around, but now he realizes that they can see him, and there's not much you can do at that point. No mana to work with. Excalibur credit for the kill. Well, they've certainly opened up the map for Drow now.
Yeah, Excalibur, especially on the back of those 2 kills, has managed to hit level 6. Still only 21 CS, the lowest of all the cores. But it doesn't matter because the side of Vega just, their over-aggression being punished there. Some really nice rotations here from Jerry to the top lane, and it's enabled Excalibur to be able to turn these things around. And now, even if she is pressured out of the lane, she's going to be able to go to the jungle. But still, this Spectre, I'm very surprised that he's been able to get this level of farm, especially with the fact that, you know, he was left alone for a bit while that Bane rotated. And you expect a Puck to be able to pressure a Spectre, but Spectre's had such a good start.
The Spectre's going to haunt into the mid lane after the aggressive play from Pink Pincheck. They give you the turn kill on Abaddon so far, 1-for-1. Still back, hiding away Templar Stats, and here comes the Link, and TA's got a TP out with that refraction. It is enough. He gets out, and it ends the 1-for-1. So yeah, the aggressive play for the Dire team first. What happens there? Jerry on this Grimstoke, I can see why they valued this first pick, Grimstoke, for sure. And again, Grimstoke's been a hero we've seen a lot of anyway, so not surprising. But nope, Excalibur's low. At the top lane, meanwhile, last hero, Burrow Strike in 5 seconds, but Abaddon comes in and heals him up. But yeah, we're going to not only move all around the map constantly, now coming bottom lane. In fact, that Inkswell's doing so much work this game. In fact, there's Phantom's Embrace on a Spectre. They want to try to take him out for the first time. Skull might apply, trapping them in place. They're tethering them together even. And necessarily trapping them, but not going to be able to follow it up though. So good rotation from J4, and he helps keep Donnie alive.
Yeah, J4, he's really good with this nightmare timing. He's getting it exactly right for the time with the ink spell. And oh, another big engagement here.
Oh wow, got the top lane, but bottom lane back to there. It sure is a big engagement with GPK rotating over for the 10-minute bounty runes, and Razor ends up with a double kill out of it. So excellent movement from him to show up, and they take the bounty rune to boot. But TA is going to do the stacked ancients nearby and start flash farming.
Yeah, it's a ping check. You know, they picked the lane counter to her in the Razor. She's not even that far behind. 400 gold, and she just flash farms a lot better than the Razor. He does have 4 points in the unstable current, so his jungling here on GPK isn't awful. But with the help of the Drought Aura already providing 29 bonus attack speed, she's going to have her Desolator. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out in the next 3 or 4 minutes. And then we can really expect to see Pimvinchek accelerate.
That certainly is the game plan there. Take advantage of that level 2 Drow Aura currently as well from Excalibur. Razor. He is going to be going to Rod of Atos. As usual, makes plenty of sense this game as well. So Rod of Atos good against heroes like Puck and just in general to keep that link up. Spectre currently does have the Radiance queued up. So Spectre going to try to farm the Radiance. Got the Power Treads finished with the early Soul Ring. Radiance next in line. Going to rely on movement and pressure from Razor Core. And its early farm is top lane. And Batten gets killed off. Excalibur trying to hold his ground, but now the Diabolic Edict taking him down. He was setting up the turn kill on a Leshrac, but he just couldn't do enough damage to do so. And he too falls. So a double
they
kill.
have the Fiend script over on the TA here. And they have a sentry down that meld. It's not going to save you, Pimvinchek.
Wow, so they catch her rotating over to join that fight. That ends up being 3 kills for Vega Squadron. And sudden shift change for them on top of the tower kill. That's just huge momentum all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's 2 massive kills on the map for the side of Vega Squadron. And, you know, I can't say I blame the Spectre. He had a much better laning phase than you can expect out of any Spectre. So you just go for this later game item. It allows you to accelerate in your farm. It means your Haunt does that much more damage. And it means you're going to get the other items a lot sooner. So if you can afford to get the Radiance, then it is worth it. And I think he's making the right decision. The rest of his team, they're going to be able to make the space for him.
Well, he goes to the top lane and he's going to farm up there, realizing right now Singularity is not interested in defending it currently, at least. The tower has already fallen, and their heroes are elsewhere, including Drow being bottom lane now. Excalibur's rotating down here. He might need to be careful, though, because Sand King and Razor both coming in.
Yeah, the fail. And the reveal of the Atos. Oh, Excalibur, I think he's in real trouble.
Well, you happen to have a couple of supports nearby, including a Batten to Drain Coil on top of that. Going to help him for the time being, but now Puck's in trouble. The face up to the last second, but she dies to the Sandstorm. Excalibur still being run down by Zani, but it is too deep, and now Zani trying to get back. Excalibur finally does go down a Razor, and Zani's turning back in. He's got his Spurgeon. He doesn't give 2 craps. Check. No more refraction means likely a death on him. Do they have vision? They don't even need it. GPK. Too much damage, and Jerry, he's gonna make it past the tier 2 and survive, but Vega Squadron just having the better fight right now, and they're gonna take out a tier 1 on top of this. It was very even, not even 2 minutes to go in net worth, and suddenly it's into 4,000, soon to be a 5,000 net worth lead for Vega.
Yeah, they've lost this Templar Assassin twice before she gets her Desolator. That feels so bad, because really you just want to be farming until you get either the Blink or the Desolator, and that's when you look to either, you know, accelerate your farm or continue the fight. And we are just seeing the side of the Singularity team fight. They just do not have the level of control that the side of Vega Squadron is. They have stun after stun, control after control. They thought they were going to be able to get away with the Dream Coil, but it didn't hold down the Spectre, so he literally just runs down the Drow Ranger. They also have this Atos now, just adding to the control of Vega, and it just feels like no one is going to be able to escape from this lineup of Vega Squadron. As soon as they're on top of you, you are just food to them.
Yeah. Sand King has a blink coming along nicely. You mentioned the Veil show that we saw at the beginning of that fight that he had picked up. Veil at Discord really is an item that's a couple of these heroes, Sand King especially, has been picking up, and I don't even know if too much of the item was necessarily changed. It's just like suddenly there was a realization. It's like, you know, this magic damage amp and the regen and the armor that this item provides. It's all around a pretty good item for some heroes, and Sand King certainly is one of those that benefits greatly from it.
Yeah, it's just such a nice first item on you know, heroes who do any sort of magic damage, because it offers armor, it offers agi, it offers strength, it offers intelligence, it offers HP regen, it offers you just a little bit of everything. It's kind of like the drums for the agility cores, really, and it's just amplifies his entire team. And by the way, so bad, he's building another Atos for his own side. I just don't see how the side of Singularity are able to move around in these team fights at all when they end up being a 5v5 fight.
And that is the concern of going this Drow-heavy lineup. Drow, and back to my point of, again, not having that meaty frontliner, there isn't a lot of distraction for this Radiant team to worry about. They're just going to be able to Rod of Atos, whether it's the Drow Ranger, the Puck even, in the back lines, just beeline for them. And there's simply isn't enough that Singularity is going to be able to do on paper to stop that necessarily. I mean, a Gust from Drow was nice. He does have a Dragonlance now finished as well, so he's bulked up a bit, has some more attack range. I got to assume, though, BKBs will eventually be follow-up, so for Vega Squadron on these cores, especially somebody like the Razor, and even Leshrac as a position 4, it wouldn't surprise me, although he does queue up a Ghost Scepter, which certainly makes sense against this TA and even the Drow lineup that they're up against.
Yeah, I really like that idea of that itemization, because Leshrac, you know, his right clicks, they don't matter at all. It's all magical damage, and at the moment, for the side of Singularity, they're all physical damage coming out from the TA. Now completed that Desolator, so they do have a big increase in the damage they're able to output in the fights. But exactly, if you're able to live through it, continue cutting through the Refraction with the Diabolic Edict as well as the Pulse Nova, this Lesh is going to be so annoying just standing in your front lines when you're not able to deal with him, all thanks to one cheap item in the Ghost Scepter.
Mm-hmm. You look at Razor, just 2,000 net worth more than anyone else in this game right now. And he's got a Yasha, and he's going to go S&Y. Okay, just going to go the S&Y build. It's classic. I'm ready to fight. Does a lot of things for me. Items, that's a horrible way to explain that. But it is a good item on a hero like Razor. Status resistance, as well as a life increase. Match for the same as Sand King stunning away. Singularity attempting to jump in, but he just simply Bro strikes out, and Leshrac's been pressuring the top lane. Again, this is a position for Leshrac. This is not a core like a mid or an off lane Leshrac game. It's position for Leshrac being played. And he's got so much space, and also they catch the Templar Assassin. Out comes Trinell with the use, but it just doesn't matter. Way too much follow-up. They're gonna take out the Grimstroke, and Miposhka, he's gonna try to make his way to the left, but be a distraction for the team, I suppose. So no more further casualties happen other than himself. Oh, borrow time down. Okay, well, makes it a not happen, so aha, says Miposhka, but the last lap certainly going the way of Vega Squadron, and now they're pushing.
I mean, we're just seeing the difference in team fights here in having Disable and not having Disable. The only Disable they have for the side of Singularity is that Puck Dream Coil, and it's just not enough. The side of Vega Squadron, they're able to hold your place, really control you. And Shashlo, he might have been able to get a little bit harassed, but they have 4 points in the Diabolic Edict, so I don't see why they're going to stop this push, except for the fact that everyone's respawning.
Grimstroke pushing out the stroke, and that's retreat for the Radiant team. They do decide to fall back, and that's the way to stop it. It's just Vega Squadron realizing they're not in a rush. And, you know, we're mentioning during the draft how this lineup of Singularity seemed like it was going to be needing a huge spike around that 20 to 25 minute mark, pushing tier 3s even at that point. I'm looking at the map. They only have one tower kill at 18 minutes into the game. That really does not feel good for the Singularity lineup and what they want to accomplish this game, I'm sure. So, not saying that's the only way for them to have won this game, but that really cannot be feeling good. And TA, she doesn't even have her blink yet to go with the Desolator. 18.5 minutes. It's going to come around the 20-minute mark or so at this rate, you know, pending deaths. Not the ideal timing for her either, but there is certainly still chances. It's just Vega Squadron's doing a good job of constricting the map, as they should be. And Razor's just going to make his way bottom now. We mentioned the S&Y, and there's that Shivas. I know you were talking about it. It seems like a makes sense item, especially this game for a Razor. He's going to have it next item.
Yeah, and you were talking about power peaks just a second ago, and and Zanny over here, as they kill Jerry in the bottom lane, he's going to have that Radiance very soon. They will have the Radiance spawn in another 20 seconds, and I think we can expect to see Vega look for another big engagement then. The reveal of the Radiance is always a great timing to take a fight.
God, Leshrac already has the Ghost Scepter. Let's go with the Rod of Atos. Just impressed with how much he's being able to farm this game as a position 4. And Apparently, there's just that much farm on the map because he is 4th on his team, despite farming so well. And was that just the Radiance finish? Yeah. So Spectre just now gets the Radiance after all of this. That he hasn't even had that throughout all these 1 fights earlier on for Vega Squadron. So now you have a Radiance to deal with if you're Singularity. Good luck.
Yeah, it's Singularity. I think they're going to need some sort of dramatic high ground defense, but it looks like they're getting aggressive here, but this is going to be punished by the reveal of Radiance Force.
Oh, nice goal line off the bat. Jerry trying to run away before he gets taken out. Spectre, though, with the illusion, chasing him down. Double kill for Zani. Can't say I'm surprised. That Radiance burn certainly taking to do plenty of damage. And a 3-0 fight, once again, going the way of Vega Squadron. They're trying to catch up to Puck. Shoshlo, I think he's a little too slippery, though, but you get to a point where they don't care anymore. They're going to go elsewhere. TA. Uh-oh. He might get caught. Nice job with the blink. Avoids Rod of Atos, so she survives. But, yeah, the Radiance being shown off very quickly right there from the Radiant team. And it certainly does work. Roshan's up. I gotta feel that Vega Squadron's going to look to do that soon now.
I mean, one thing it's worth noting is they don't have very good Roshan taking. They have decent objective taking on the back of the Lestrak, but they don't really have that much ability to take the Roshan. So it might take them a while. But with the level of map control they have, they might be able to do it. But I don't see a medallion out on anyone. There isn't any minus armor. Obviously, you do have the Desolate from the Spectre that helps a tiny bit. But honestly, it's just easier for them to push high ground than bother taking this Roshan. One thing I do have to say is the side of Singularity, you can feel that they're feeling so pressured, feeling so tilted, because you never want to be taking a fight into a high ground where you don't have vision, and that was exactly what they did around this area.
Yeah, but when the map is being constricted as it is, you do have to take chances some places, so one of the cases there, and it just simply did not work. Drow Ranger trying to finish that BKB, and I mean, sure, when she has the BKB, it'll feel much better, because then the Radiance burn won't really matter as much. You know, Lestrax's damage and all the lockdown are not going to be there. But we'll see if that is a game changer or not. Goes to that Roshan. Not the fastest, but they are indeed going to get it. Donnie. Okay, they give it to Razor. They give it to Razor instead. He is running up there and is certainly providing plenty of damage for the team. So they give it to him over the Spectre right now.
Yeah, you just give it to your Razor because he's going to be the real one on the front lines. He's going to be the one hitting towers. So you want to give it to whoever's going to be the one standing on your high ground, and that's definitely going to be GPK here. And just, I really think in that last fight we saw the impact of the Drow Ranger nerfs because, you know, Razor, he has a plate mail, also has the face boots. It's not to be underestimated that they give armor as well. And so previously the Drow with the Shredder through this entire armor, but now it's basically like she's doing... oh god, I can't remember how the damage calculations work, but I think it's around half damage when you're at 16 armor. So literally cutting a damage in half the damage the Drow was doing, if not even more.
Yeah, that's brutal. Casual plate mill, certainly a good item to have in a lot of matchups, and definitely one here. Spectre, Manta style being worked on. He has a Yasha, not there yet, but not going to stop them from now pressuring the tier 3. So. You know, if this is the Drow lineup doing this, you'd be sitting here, okay, looking pretty good for them. But the fact that the Drow lineup's getting a tier 3 pressure themselves, I can't help but think that this game is looking very grim for Team Singularity. The good news is it's a best out of 5, right? Like you don't get the chance to play a best out of 5 often in a lot of these tournaments, so it's a grind. Best of 5, game number 1. Worst case, you move on to game number 2 and kind of reset something. Still plenty more to make up, but. They're still going to hang in it at least for now, but we'll see how long they try to hang in this game. Of course, at least give themselves a set of racks in their base to be destroyed before they think about conceding. But I mean, they're literally just sitting in their base, so it's not a whole lot of making up is happening right now for Singularity.
Yeah, they're at the point where they're just pinned into their base, exactly as you say. They're really relying on the side of Vega just overextending, making a bad high ground push in some sort of extent, and that's what they can really hope for the side of Singularity. So it's not all over for them, but I think sometimes you see when teams are in this position, they go for a desperation smoke. But I just don't think Singularity, because they don't have the catch or the control to go for that kind of smoke, even though they are looking for it now. But I don't think this is going to pan out for them. But they feel pressured in their base. They think this is their only chance, so they are going for it.
They're trying something, so that's where you certainly have to give them credit, because it goes back to when you're down this much with the matchup and everything, they have to try something risky. well, they're gonna find Spectre. And lets it get haunt away, make a juke. Oh, the back. Oh, that's a stun from the Dream Coil, actually. Okay, so he went just far enough for the Manta. Actually broke it. And so he goes down, but now the 4 heroes around the Spectre are here. Spectre does not have a buyback, so he will not be in this fight. Soulblind came out initially. The BKB was committed by Excalibur, sitting in the backline. Batten picked off, though. Puck in the midst of it. Buyback from a Batten. As now Excalibur, he gets linked up. He's not getting away from this. I don't think so. The Gus helped initially, but a double kill for GPK is the end result. Over here, Big Man's like, oh, he's going to be locked down by the Phoenix. You have to kill the Bane, but it doesn't matter. Triple kill for GPK. Who needs a Radiant Spectre when your GPK Razor has farmed plenty? He gets a ultra kill out of this. He wants the Rampage. Damn it, he's going to get the Rampage. And I am a little surprised Singularity is not just calling it right here. I'm not going to lie, but that was a big fight for Vega.
Yeah, so Singularity, you know, they're able to get the big pick off, you know, on the Spectre, but he's not the big target this game. It's the Razor. He's the one doing all the work. And as soon as Singularity are out of their base, Vega, you know, they literally just run at them. They're 4 heroes down. There's no buyback horn coming from the Spectre, but they don't even need it. They know, even in this 4v5 situation, they're the stronger ones, especially with Dream Coil down, and that means there's no control at all for the entire fight for the side of Vega. And you know, we just saw they kited the Drow BKB. She dropped her, I thought she was going to use her BKB to try and retreat, but she actually used her BKB to try and fight, and just as soon as that was over, she was dead.
No chance to get away at that point. Crimson card on Sand King. Fantastic item to have against this lineup of the Dire. And when you're dealing with the TA and a Drow especially, any kind of Drow lineup, Crimson Guard is always going to be great. Leshrac is also going to Chivas. Okay, really? I feel like one of those, either him or the Razor, could have at least got an AC to, you know, benefit a little bit more when it comes to some auras, but all right, double Shivas. They both want to take advantage of the intelligence buff from the item, I'm sure, too. And
yeah.
Both are going to have it.
It's not always about the stacking auras. They're not really a lineup that thrives on this attack speed, but the vision, the mana, as you say, that the Shivas is able to give you, as well as the slow of both these heroes, you know, they want to be standing next to you. The Shrek wants you to be eating the pulse and over damage, as well as the Razor making you take that unstable current. And it's just, I mean, it's not locked down, but it's just slow. And you know, the side of Singularity, we've seen them be kited through the fights, and it's just another way to do it with this Shivas, you know. They're not able to move, they're not able to run away, they're not able to fight into them. It just feels so hard for the side of Singularity. And as you said, I'm surprised they're still remaining in it.
I know you're talking about earlier too, and now that we're seeing this Drought game post-patch, I do gotta say that other change to marksmanship, the one of only affecting base armor, not total armor, it certainly is becoming very evident. And of course, it's going to be that's a huge nerf as the game picks up. You know, the later game with the armor items start happening, her damage output definitely gets gimped quite a bit. So, yeah, maybe I'm not as sold on Trow still being a very not a very strong hero even, but oh my god, that's a big courier kill, by the way. Wow, that was a BKB coming out on that courier. So. Joshua delaying things.
Joshua been cutting this bottom wave the whole time. I'm a bit surprised they didn't realize he was about there. Who was that BKB for? Did you manage to get a look?
I'm not sure. Was it for Razor? It had to be for Razor. No, he just got a Shivas.
No. He has no money left. He's just so fond of GPK, I think.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, 18,000 net worth. I think that was his then. Okay. Because, yeah, no one else would make sense. Leshrac is still building a Shivas. Bane definitely doesn't have it, so... And Sand King wouldn't go BKB, I don't think. Yeah, it's probably Razors.
Yeah, the side of Vega, they're just squeezing out this map. They're playing it very, very safe. They didn't even want to push with that first Aegis when, you know, we felt they had a very strong advantage. But I can't say I blame them. You know, they are just suffocating the side of Singularity, slowly increasing their net worth lead. And admittedly, the win percentage hasn't changed that much, but that's because it's already sitting at 97. It's not going to get that much worse for them.
Yeah. Yep. I do go back to, there is the argument to be made, though. You know, you're in a best of 5, a grind of a series ahead of you. What's the worth of hanging into a game like this? That the mental state that it creates when you're just kind of banging your head against the door is the, you know, analogy that we use, where the likelihood of you winning this game is in fact, we'll pull up the 98-2, and I was almost expecting to see it at 99, to be honest, but it's been there for the last like 10 minutes at least at that point. So, just how long is too much is the ultimate question. But
I mean, some teams have very different mentalities. You know, some teams are known for just calling GG as soon as the game seems lost, resetting in the middle of a series. But some teams, they do just like to play it out. They like to know they've given it everything they can. And I guess Singularity are one of those teams. And, you know, it helps. Maybe it's a positive aspect of their mentality. It's just how the team is. You know, we still think maybe if they could get very sloppy, we'll be able to take this. So let's stay in it. Let's try everything we can. And, you know, maybe they're just waiting to lose the lane of barracks. They're probably not too disheartened yet.
Yeah, true. And the ultimate thing there too is actually Shashla is trying to get away this whole time up at the top lane. Of course, Spectral Dagger from Zani allows him to chase pretty well, but Shashla is going to end up TPing out. They don't see what we see when it comes to all these numbers and everything, so they may not realize how far behind they are too, to be fair. But either way, they are sticking into the game and going to keep giving themselves at least that very, very minor chance, as small as it may be. Roshan is up in 2 minutes. It's a very long Roshan respawn, so the Radiant team going to have to wait a while before they go for the eventual Roshan, and then look to take that out as the Courier just respawned. So we can confirm it is GPK's BKB because he already has another 2,000 gold, oh no, 1,200 gold saved up even. I guess he bought the quarterstaff as well for his eventual butterfly. That's going to be coming. So this is going to be a very farmed Razor. The fact that he's been ahead of Spectre this whole game is actually somewhat impressive from the Razor.
Yeah, in all honesty, we have actually seen this from new Razors. This passive unstable current, it just allows them to get that level of farm that they were never able to do. Previously, you know, Razors, they would dominate a lane, but then just fall off in the mid game because the only farming tool they had was the plasma field. But having both the plasma field and the unstable current does allow you to accelerate your farm. And GBK has done a really good job at demonstrating what is achievable on a Razor here. But Shashlo, once again, he has just been cutting the waves. He's part of the reason I think that the side of Vega haven't gone high ground yet.
Well, he certainly is, and they pretty much want to kill him before they maybe try. They even use Haunt for this. He's gonna get away though, isn't he? Yep, he gets away once again. So he's the only one that can comfortably get out of the base right now in push lanes as we've seen. So he is doing his job there, and certainly the reason why they are still hanging into it. But Roshan is now, oh no, he's not actually up. Still 28 more seconds, so never mind. You can tell that the Radiant team eventually wants to do Roshan when he is up. Back to that Haunt from Spectre. He did pick up an Arcane rune, so that's why he's maybe a little more willing to use the Haunt right there. Again, didn't result in a kill, but it's already on cooldown about 45 seconds. And then he'll be good to go. He also finished an Eye of Scotty, by the way, in the meantime. So you look at the progression on the other side. A BKB on Templar Assassin has had that for a little bit now. Trying to build a nullifier. Is getting there, getting close. Hurricane Pike just finished for the Drow Ranger and will be delivered out. So she's going to have that to go to the BKB. And they're smoking. They think Roshan's happening. They would be right. Here's their chance. You look at Bane, though. He's looking to tank the smoke gank. Just chilling here.
Yeah, this is the exact right play, and they're going to get to throw Roshan pit way too late from the side of Singularity. I wouldn't be surprised if J4, he doesn't have an Ethans or anything, but last hero, he is the one looking for the initiation. But with the Aegis, with the BKB on the Spectre, with the BKB over on the Razor, they are going to look to push high ground.
Yeah.
I think now is the time for the side of Vega Squadron to close this one out.
All right, Ags picked up on Puck, so one more tool that Singularity does have to attempt a defense at the base. But Singularity, they're going to need a lot of things to go right if they want to win this fight. Crimson Guard buff goes up, Excalibur with the pushback of the Hurricane Pike. Tier 3 tower, dropping quickly. Singularity's not committing too much.
Yeah, they just don't have enough damage on Singularity through the Crimson Guard, through all the armor they've been able to get.
Well, now's the time, they say. Puck jumps in with the Dream Coil to follow up Pink Benchik. As soon as he goes in, though, they just turn on him with a Link, and Pink Benchik just has to run. So the damage follow-up simply not there for the dire side. As Zani is getting somewhat low, but again, he has the Aegis. She's on Razor. He's just baiting this out. He finally used that in the last second. and the melee racks, sure enough, goes down. So there's the melee in the range. They're going to make their way top. No point to stop for Vega Squadron. Singularity already used their big initiation with the Drain Coil. It didn't result in anything. And they have another Crimson Guard buff, so why the hell would they stop now?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I think we'll be very surprised if we see a Drow Ranger again. Because, you know, we saw the Hurricane Pike, we saw a whole bunch of marksmanship procs, but it just doesn't hurt because they have armor that's not being cancelled. Yeah,
it actually is a pretty big nerf, and if you're going to pick up Drow, it really goes back to you pick up Drow for the aura synergy, and confident that your other core is going to be able to do work, but it seems like Excalibur is doing, and you see right there, the auto attacks weren't even taking the life down, it felt like, of Spectre. He might go down here. Again, he has the Aegis, so he's going to come back out. The last stand for Singularity. They go in, draw range, select out of the Phoenix despite the BKB though, and she falls. Big Venture in the midst of it. He goes down, he fights back immediately. Abaddon, borrowed time still ready. He pops out, he runs to the right. Shot will top of the splitter though. As soon as he comes down, Pink Venture jumping back in with the BKB, but he just can't even kill the Bane. Okay, well, he proves me wrong. He kills the Bane, but he dies back, and GG's are now calling it. They were just simply way too far behind, as we were kind of getting at for a while now. So they tried, they executed decent, but there was no way they were winning that fight with the farm disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like this when Vega were very happy to take a 4v5 against the side of Singularity, and then when you're taking a 5v5 with Aegis and Cheese, you know you're most certainly going to come out on top. So, in my opinion, where this game all fell apart for the side of Team Singularity is where they took those two fights. I think it was around the 10 to 15 minute mark, and Pinvinchek died. I don't think they should have been getting involved that early before Pinvinchek had either a blink or a desolator. He just really needed that first item because we saw them get on the edge of killing people from Vega Squadron, but without that little bit of damage, they were never going to win the fight because they don't have the control or the burst damage really without that kind of item from Pinvinchek, and it just meant that this Temporal Assassin was set so far back. I was praising her for recovering from the lane from GPK, but she fed all that away with those two kills. And at that point, it really felt like the Drow stat had fallen off because Vega Squadron was so far ahead, and especially with the fact that Zanny had a very nice laning phase, and it meant he could go for that Radiance as well.
I'm looking at the graphs right now and just saying, yeah, that pretty much explains how this game went. Up until about 20 minutes, it was okay, a slight lead for Vega maybe, but it was certainly still a game that Singularity could have come back in and even won, but then around that 20-minute mark and a couple of those fights happening that you talked about, and sure enough, that spike is like, the game, Dota Buff's like, or Dota Plus is just like, yeah, this game's over. It just jumped way up and pretty much stuck up there.
Yeah, I see it. The 20-minute mark, it just goes into the 90s. Wow.
Yeah, it just spiked like crazy. And I do want to come back to the draft slightly. I do think there is an argument for a little bit of an outdraft here, specifically with the lack of... We kept going back to Doom. Just any kind of meaty hero, though. That last big puck, Shoshla was cutting creep waves later on, sure, but they didn't have that front line. I know this isn't World of Warcraft. I know we're not doing dungeons here. I don't want to use the term tank necessarily, but you have to have something that is a distraction in the front, causes chaos, jumps in with a Ravage, of a Tidehunter, just something along those lines, it feels like, especially if you're running this Drow lineup where you have two cores specifically in Drow and TA that want to sit back and just do damage in the face of the other team. I really do not agree with that puck pick. Doom would have been a great pickup once again, and there's also other candidates I feel like that would have given you a slightly better chance in this game, but the end result is Vega Squadron, a 13-0-7 Razor from GPK. It's one of the many positives that they had going for them. It's a best of 5, though, so like I said, we got a grind in front of us. We'll see the adjustments that are made and how Singularity can adjust those things going into game number 2. But ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We have game number 2 coming up for the G League Invitational European Region Best of 5 Grand Finals.